This is Kal Kat, the Kal Kat and welcome to this evening's thingy. Well, it's New Year's Eve, and I decided to do the New Year's recap thing early. It's only 6. Well, it's just about 6, but in New York it's anyway. So yeah. There isn't. This is not technically a New Year's Eve special. There isn't going to be one. Kal Kat show ended last year. This isn't technically that. It's on location missions, I guess. Quite a few episodes of that. Yeah, the movie reviews thing was part 1 of this, and this is part 2 of this. This is movie reviews technically. So it's movie reviews part 2 of what I just filmed. Just. Okay, so we revealed the best movies of the year and stories in them. So it seemed more apropos to go about doing it that way because, well, after reviewing last year's New Year's thing, which was the finale, which no one watched, that it was a movie review thing anyway. It was a review of most of my stuff that I did, mainly in skirting around people and characters and family members I met, not mentioning them by name and making it incredibly confusing. I don't know why I didn't mention them by name. Yeah, why would they care? Nobody watched it. I probably am the only one who watched it. So yeah, which goes with the theory that the Brown Video Productions channel, which is viral, is not being watched by anybody other than family members and no exes are watching, and if they are, why would they care? So, don't need to worry about that. They did mention quite a bit on their Blessings Deferred. The Blessings Deferred audiobook with some video accompaniment. It's basically an audiobook. If you treat it as an audiobook with characters standing there reading lines, it's an audiobook. It's not even go motion. It's just, we put these guys in front of the screen to give you something to look at. They could be looking at a tree or a pig or a bee or something, and it wouldn't matter. Anything. But it apparently bored the heck out of some of my relatives, and they're all, take that down, off the channel, and they objected to that. Took it off that channel and put it on the other one of the archive channels. I also copied and archived the Transformers mush to its own archive, so that like the Starship Chimera has its own site for Starship locations. Now there's an archive for the Transformers mush. They can go over there and watch all of those episodes, including the Sentinels one, which came out later. I think they're all there, and Space Bridge episodes from last year that were the re-release of the Space Bridge, but I actually finished the editing of the episodes. That a lot of when I did Space Bridge, I filmed a lot of it in a weird angle because I didn't think to zoom in on the characters. But now with the Photoshop program, you kind of zoom in on them. Of course, at that point, Photoshop 2023 stopped working, and right after that. And their website is stupid, so we had to go back and reinstall the old 15 program, and we're still using that for all the productions after MP4, barely 4K stuff. It's 1080p stuff. Yeah, so which is lovely that we're using an older system to look at older software now. And this is a Windows 10 machine, and when Windows 11 conks out at the end of 2025, then I have to have some kind of replacement before the end of next year. Great. So yeah, or otherwise, yeah, I don't think 15 will work on Windows 11. Especially now that the channel has decided, I have several channels up, 6 or 7 of them. In character news, shortly after Easter, Mom passed away on April 1st, And so that ended Brown Productions, the legacy of the whole series. We were in the midst of some fan film stuff back then, the Star Trek, Transformers Legacy and Star Trek Locations Legacy, based on Star Trek Legacy. Well, loosely the title anyway. And went on with that and continued with our fan film stuff around that. In May, there was a wake, and Johnny Cook, one of the nephews, appeared, and was one of the advocates of the channel, and wanted to be in one of my video reviews. So I watched some of the Transformers stuff. We got to watch the Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, and we reviewed it in the studio. Then we moved out of we're moving up here in May and June, and then we're out here. So we did move. We kind of moved back, just kind of moved up and then back. It just so happens the roommate people are currently have the same last name as a character from Starcrackers, but it's a coincidence. Carries, and I'll mention the name, but he's not. He's Starcrackers, a different guy, obviously. But it's okay because Sarah is named after Sarah from Starcrackers. Yeah, which is now Space Vanguard. It's kind of funny that at the end of the last video review thing that I mentioned, doing a Starship Destinations Distant Cousins thing. I made a rough script of an unused sequel to the 7-book series, and I made a script out of it and used it as an episode where they go to that weird bioship and they find it. Only to have months later have them say, "Well, you know what? Why can't we do Canary Space? We can do Distant Destinies. Why not? I mean, after you're done with other stuff, do Canary Space. Sure. And Space Vanguards. Do Starcrackers. Do Distant Cousins and Starcrackers again. Sure, why not?" That became a long odyssey, though. And there's a long discussion of making of Canary Space and Vanguards on there. But long story short, there were 63 one-hour episodes made out of the 7 books that were printed out as scripts, and which is insane and wasted a lot of print ink for that one. Space Vanguards had about 32 episodes, half an hour. It was much smaller, 3 books, not 7. And Mark's Cards is okay with doing a Sphere of Influence, but he said the jokes might not work anymore. So when you get to the jokes, you might have some 90s humor. Well, if it's sort of in the 90s style, then it works. But yeah, the Canary Space kind of has that problem too. And with the decision of having gone through the books and stuff, having them say, "What, we're not going to adapt 65 one-hour episodes. That's insane." So we'll do one of the books. We'll do book 1. We'll also do that with Vanguards. We'll do book 1. Book 1 is kind of the condensed version of the whole thing anyway. All other sequels are an expansion of an original work. There are more follow-ups than sequels. That's the way I do it. Large world-building thing. Not anything like Dune, really. And establishing it. Now, you know, this really is kind of an ancient aliens thing with like space aliens and civilizations and a Galactica type of thing, in that they're alien humans living in another part of the galaxy and they come to visit us. They've been taken and then they come back. It's kind of like Galactica, but only in that sense. The rest of it's completely different. There's no battle stars. The space war is limited to their whatever they can do. It's not a Star Wars riff-off like that at all. We're limited by what effects we can do too. So yeah, you're not going to get the high-end sci-fi. Sort of like when they were complaining about that Blessings Deferred audiobook with some visuals in it. Not understanding what that was an audiobook with some visuals, and it was not meant to be taken as, oh, the visuals aren't interesting enough, and it's not supposed to be. You're supposed to listen to the audio, listen to the guy's voice. So in this one, it's a go motion. It's our technique that we use on our movies. We have a lot of that. Yeah. So Canary Space. We printed them all out and said no, because we had to read them all too. We read them out, read them all. Yeah, and decided, okay, we're going to do Canary Space, and we're going to start on book 1, and we're going to have book 1 out before Christmas. And did. Book 1 of Canary Space is online. You can watch it. Yeah, and during that time we were also doing another church play, but this time we were also doing assistant director on the children's plays at the for further up in rank, I guess, if there was a rank. And so assistant director on 2 children's plays. Of course, we couldn't film the plays, but we did manage to the YouTube connections and stuff. We couldn't get them permission for Angels Say What, but they did manage to get permission for Best Christmas Song Ever, the play from the actual people, from Yancey and the people, to put that up on YouTube. The Duns did that. So you can go watch that on YouTube, and you can see the thing that I helped direct. It's just kind of cool. Yeah, you can see something that isn't an on-location thing. Go watch that, and you can watch it, and it's COPRA. It obeys the COPRA Act as well, because they're volunteers. Yeah, they're not being paid. And they don't show them up close, so yeah, just from a distance. But we wanted to make the play. Like they said, okay, like a regular school play, it's always kind of cheesy. No, we wanted a good sound system. We want everything to be lined up, and we want it to be just a few stages above a school play. It was a Christmas production. Yeah, which is a few stages up from a Christmas play. I think we succeeded. It's awesome. Best Christmas Song Ever is a sort of High School Musical, but sung to the tune of Christian themes. Yeah. So, another thing we did was the Legacy series. We did Transformers Legacy series. Did the apology to the Robotech people. We did like a 3-part Transformer one, where we sort of kicked everything ahead a little bit into the Transformers multiverse to explore it. In this other part of their multiverse, they had the Robotech people come back early, and it messes up the timeline. They have to go back and they fix it. I think everything's okay at the end. All spurred on by the end of the Sentinel story, where they had 2 versions of them at the end. This is that version. Get to see the other version. And you don't need to know all that stuff in advance. I know it was kind of unclear to know all that stuff in advance. It helps. But the thing with the Kal Kat Transformers Lexicon story like that is they're all kind of individually wrapped. It's not connected really. The individual stories of lexicons and the other one, you can kind of watch them independently and get it. Only the finales lead somewhere to the end of it. See the finales, and my mother was a fan of lexicons. She watched it. I think she was going out of it and didn't know Dementia and all that, didn't know what was going on, but she liked some of those in the last season of that show. She watched it, so she pulled it up on the channel and watched it. And Brown Video, of course. But yes, I think I watched Brown Video, and everybody was established the opinion that Brown Video would not be at all conflicted with the other stuff. One of the Two Car Garage band members did not want Two Car Garage up on Brown Video Productions, so we moved it. One of the other ones was like, I don't want that up on it. That doesn't really go there. It's not that I don't want them up, it's that it doesn't go on that channel. Put it on the other one. Put it on the Kal Kat, and on there. So we moved it over to the Kal Kat channel. Also during last year there was so it's there. You can go watch it. Also, the other band member from the other one, we found his reunion song, "The Author of Love." Put that up there. So there's another one on there, and the other, I think the other version of Praise Song is on there. They put all of them up there, so I think they're all there. So yeah, the only place that's covering Two Car Garage C3 songs is Kal Kat. Kal Kat channel. So awesome. That's this one. And we haven't interviewed him or anything. But yeah, so there was, yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, there was a mysterious song. It was all over the internet, and it has since been solved, partly by Kal Kat. Yes, there was a mysterious song. Nobody could figure out where it came from. The stepping out, stepping in song. And Kal Kat did some research on it because I kind of a report. I had a journalism background, San Jose State. Didn't end up working for any news or anything, but I had a journalism background. So I bet I can find out where, not only where this came from, but why it came from. And once I did that, other people like the Professor of Rock that first aired the song went back and said, I think we found out who it is. We found him because this other fan was out there. He said, like, wait a second. So there was this mysterious song. It's the mysterious song. And I was like, you guys are looking in the wrong place for this. I listened to this, investigated it. You guys are looking for a band that currently exists, a mainstream band. It is not a mainstream band. It, like Two Car Garage, is a garage band. But this other garage happens to be in Germany somewhere back in the 90s. And they're imitating the 80s. So it's not anybody new that's famous currently, because they would be coming out and going, I'm the guy that did it. They're all lying. No, this is the old garage band from that part of the world. And they happened to go on the radio. One night, the radio producer was a friend and said, I'm gonna air your song on the radio. And they're recording it. And they did. They recorded the band and some of their other songs that did. And that's what happened. They found the mysterious song. I found it. I helped find the mysterious song. Thank you, Internet. You can thank me now. The group was a German garage band, Mr. Germany, and they and they put out their this sort of grungy song as a spoofy thing on the producer's docket. They weren't supposed to. They got in there. It was very similar. There was a very similar story that happened to us during the first press of the series, the church group snack, Sunday night alternative college koinonia group thing. When I was at San Jose State, back then when I was taking English instead of journalism and English degree, and Mark Cardzo was taking film, radio, TV, and film. So he had access to the radio, the SJSU radio channel. So, and we also had access to the radio channel and the library and the radio channel. So we got in trouble, but you're not supposed to air other people like non-band songs on there. But the KSGSU would do that on occasion. Late at night they would just get like local fan band people and put their stuff on there. So we stuck Two Car Garage's different kind of fetish in the hacky sack song in the track and in Streets, and they played them on KSGSU. Yeah, we helped do that. Oh, it's going to be on the radio. How'd you know about that? I'll tell you later. Yeah, I knew about it. That was awesome. So that's what happened over there in that song. That song, that's kind of what happened. This other song, around the same time period, over in Germany, after the wall fell, that was a little earlier that that mysterious song happened. And it was just a garage band. They got into the radio station, they had a friend and put them on the radio. That's all. They weren't known. Some of them are still around, and maybe they can be interviewed. I don't know. That'd be cool. So, yeah. Anyway, so, yeah, cool. Yeah, that's sort of post-grunge punk, 1990s, probably 93, 95. They say it's 80s, but it's not. It's imitating the 80s. Once they figured that out, it's like, no, this is not an 80s song. This is imitating it. It's probably a spoof a little bit. But yeah, anyway, so that's my story. That's one of my stories. Actually, Streets is still popular on the Kal Kat channel. But yeah, and I did a version of it. Also, it helped that Kal Kat did a version of the song, a cappella, and that set the things on. It said, like, okay, this is this guy over here. that guy then contacted Professor Rock and said, "Oh, yeah, it's our old garage bands. This Kal Kat guy, he got the lyrics right. I don't know how he did the lyrics right. Oh, yeah, I guess he explained that his friend was, yeah, German. He figured it out. Well, that isn't entirely that he didn't. John didn't figure it out, but he did hear it. Mark's cards did hear it, and kind of we both deduced the same thing as GarageBand. So yeah, that's fun. Also, I'll talk about like So we have the archives and the other channels, the Transformer channels, the movie channels. Since this is not really a New Year's thing, it's just me shooting the shit. It's not really. It's just hanging out, chilling. There's nothing more going on with the other stuff. Launch on location missions, and I'll just do update blogs and call them on location missions. But it's a rantcast. It's fine. If Lewis Black can do it, so can I. If Stone Gremlins did it, so can I. That's the same idea. That's a media on YouTube. The Kal Kat Stir will be on YouTube when YouTube is eventually. It's in no danger of falling apart, but I'll still be there when it does. I was there when Facebook started. I was there when MySpace started. Not on my Facebook anymore, but I was there when MySpace started, and I was there when MySpace started, and I was there when MySpace died. I'll be there when YouTube goes under too. Hopes of one day becoming the popular child. So recently, the Transformers 1 movie, that movie inspired Tim Cantrell, Timinus Prime, Pine Hill Big Tim from the cast, to come back and do a reunion thing. And also it's the 40th anniversary of On Location. So yeah, so he came back. And it's the 40th anniversary of Pulp Fiction as well. It's the 30th anniversary of Pulp Fiction as well. And no, they're still not calling it the Royale Cheese. It's still called a Quarter Pounder over there. Anyways, but Tim came back and he's in the studio. Mall, not the studio. He's an 8-year-old and they're in the mall, hanging out in the mall. And there was this mall thing. And then immediately after that, I went over to see what was left of Pine Hill. And they were tearing down the lots around it in some of the playing field to put up housing and stuff. The school's still there. It's going to be like the part of the structure because they kept it as sort of a historic landmark. And the Camden thing, it's on the channel if you want to watch the making of that. That old Camden is a town that San Jose had incorporated into itself. Milpitas would have been, but we stopped it in the 50s before I was born. But yeah, Pine Hill, that Big Tim, he really can't be in Starcrackers because it's kind of unfeasible to pull that off. But yeah, and I'm not going to do a 7-book Canary Space series too. I'm just doing the first book, which is 3 movies about 2 hours long. Then I'm going to do Vanguards. I'm going to do one of that. Just do the one. The other 2, the first episode, the first movie, which is a remake of Sphere of Influence, or at least I used the script, and it's the animated action figure version. But yeah, I'll do that. Also, unexpectedly, Star Trek Legacy got to continue because of appearance, at least twice by. Well, first of all, it started with Amanda mentioned last season, Amanda Rumsey, the ex, one of the exes, but she's not really an ex. She said, "I'm not really an ex because you didn't really date me. It was only that one time. I'm not an ex." Anyway, but she said like the so there was just like and besides, I don't really do that kind of thing anyway. And she said like, okay, there was a Brazil trip that she went on. I was like to come to go to my Brazil trip discussion rant thing that I'm going to have at the Hull's house. I went to the discussion thing. She said, "This would make a really good Star Trek story if they changed some of the stuff around. You can do that if you want to, but leave my sister out of it." I was like, okay. I wouldn't include her anyway. That's okay because she wouldn't like that. But yeah, you can do that. She saw it, the finished product, the Starship Legacy. Technically, yeah. Last year I said that it was the 5th season of the Chimera series, but it wasn't. It was really season 3, and Legacy is season 1 and 2 is really season 1. So yeah, it's kind of confusing. So season 1 of Legacy started up in the late summer with the trips. The all the VBS stuff that was going on, and some of the characters in that wanted to inspire my Star Trek stuff, or at least hang out or to see some of the ships. And one of them was interested in the wooden ships and stuff, and some of the other ones wanted to be have stuff inspired by them, but they didn't want to be in it physically. But they were okay with like parodies of themselves in there. That's fine, just as long as there's an obvious. That was Some of them were a little obvious. The woodwork guy was the starship guy was a little obvious, but yeah, he was okay with it. He was in on it. But yeah, so there's all this like back and forth. Often things inspire other things, and that was good. And Amanda's Brazil story inspired that other one, and that was good. And she watched it, and she said, "Well, the only thing you got wrong there is she liked the dentist scene, where the dentist scene was funny. The only thing you got wrong was a little bit too much of the revealing that some of the characters are closeted. She was a little uncomfortable with that, but not in the sense that she was right winger. She was uncomfortable with like them being able to guess as to who they were. I didn't indicate who they were, so no one will know, right? No. Oh yeah. No, they won't be able to guess that. No, they didn't say their names. They're pseudonyms. Yeah. You're not going to know it's them. No, it's not that obvious. Yeah, you know, I know, they don't know. Oh, yeah. Kind of that case with those relatives back then. They saw themselves in the story and that their exes might find out about the story, but really, if it's done in such a way that they do not name names, don't see how they would even notice. And they won't. And if they are, then the reveal. There's another one to reveal. Yeah, the one that they were, the one character who was bi in the story was there for the Christmas thing too, and she doesn't care one way or the other. Says, oh sure, I have my character in there. I don't mind. That's cool. I like my character. You have 2 of my characters in there. Care. Yeah, everybody knows anyways. Don't care. One of them said, well, it doesn't mean you're going to get with me or anything. That was pretty funny. For obvious reasons, because I don't like boys. It's like, oh, well, yeah. That was somebody else, though. Yeah, so that other story was confusing last year. I was explaining about, is she a cousin? What is she? There's her name is Kathy, I think. she's technically a stepsister, I think. Yeah, stepsister. I don't know, let's call her stepsister. Stepsister. Yeah. And she lives in another part of California. And 40 years ago, she was married to this guy who claimed he was a spy for the FBI. And they got divorced at least 25 years ago. And she was convinced that this ex-spy would be able to figure out where I was because he was a spy. And, well, first of all, he's not a spy if he claims he's a spy. That was what at Martha's wedding, that's what Moni and Kathy and I discussed. He's not a spy if he's talking about being a spy. He's lying. She said, well, that's possible. He's probably lying. He probably just worked for the government. Not a spy. He's probably just worked for the government. Oh, spy. Yeah, no, you're not. You're not. And furthermore, does he even know that I exist? She said, I don't know if he knows you exist. So, there you go. There's no way they know anything at all. If it was that long ago, I mean, like 25, let's say 2000's Kal Kat. Would 2000's Kal Kat even register on anybody's radar from that time period? Now, no. Had more hair. Was a bit more outgoing, gregarious, but more flighty, hyper distracted. I don't think that person would have any clue. The character's persona has changed so dramatically. You look back at Kal Kat Show Season 9, the first season, Season 1, 2009. It's completely different now, which would be the beginning of the 17th season. It's completely different. Similar enough. It's kind of out there, but yeah, they wouldn't have a clue. And also, Johnny the nephew said that of his stepfather, who doesn't like the ex, Yvonne's ex. Yvonne has passed in 2019. He said, "Oh, don't worry about him. He's an invalid in a wheelchair, and he can't go anywhere. And his current wife and he's divorced. And his current wife's like taking care of him or something. And don't worry about him. There's just not a chance that he would know any of your videos or give a shit about them, really." I was like, he ain't gonna care. And if he does, yeah, he ain't gonna care. Yeah, he's gonna look at those old on location videos and go like, so it's not like he's gonna suddenly like snap and go like, I must find them now. Ah. Besides, since for a full year he kept saying, oh, you're in Roseville, but for a full year or so, they wouldn't even know what state you're living in currently. They went for Roseville. You know Roseville, where that is. Not in Roseville right now. I'm in the studio. I'm not saying where. It's not New York either. Yeah, if they don't know where the studio is at. All of that started from Mom's 80th birthday party. She passed away at age 88, 8 years later. It was Mom's 88th birthday party. 80th. And about the YouTube videos and stuff. All they needed to say, like they did about the later on videos, is nicely just say, oh, don't put this up on your channel because I don't want it up on the channel. Instead of raising a fuss and going, take my lines I seen out, put it up on the channel. Or explain what the channel is and whether it shows any sort of any identifying markers, and it doesn't. So the 80th birthday did not say where the meeting took place. It mentioned Giorgio's in the beginning, and that's what started the whole thing, is Giorgio's, and it's an eating place somewhere, so they would know. Oh, it was at some point they were at Giorgio's, which was an eating place, but then they were in a living room somewhere. We don't know where that is, because the people that would know where it is weren't there, and the other guy, this ex-husband of this one stepsister, would have never wouldn't know where it is either. Nor would the ex-husband. He wouldn't care. He wouldn't have any frame of reference. And even if he found out, usually a YouTube video is not posted live. So even if this person did find out, they'd be like, oh, how long ago did this get posted? Well, this person's long gone. They left. They're not there anymore. It's not a live blog. It's not like a Zoom call where they can trace the Zoom call. What they're gonna just head out in their late 70s and go searching for some random guy where their ex-wife appeared on a program. What? Why would they do that? Doesn't make any sense. They really wouldn't care. But back then, late 60s. So yeah, they don't care. And these characters in the church group, they're on board. As long as there was no video of the kids and stuff. There was actually behind the scenes on that too. During the making of the plays and stuff, the director ladies would post some of the behind the scenes of the thing. And Martha didn't complain at all. She didn't complain at all. My sister, she didn't complain. Yeah, even though I thought maybe she might, because she might say, "Oh, I'm dancing with the kids and stuff, and dancing funny, and then post it on TikTok or something." Well, if they post it on TikTok, that's their problem. I'm not. I don't have a TikTok. I'm not putting it up on Facebook. If they do it, that's their thing. They can't put it on YouTube because of the copyright, but they can put it on the C3 website as a bonus material because they have permission from Yancey to put it up there. Put that up there. Yeah. Or Yancey in Tennessee. No. But I don't have permission from Yancey. They do, so I can't post images from the play from Yancey or the people. And I drew up I made some pictures here and there of some of the cast members. I drew drawings of them because drawings, it's a drawing. Doesn't mean anything. It's just a drawing. So, yeah, it's artwork. Yeah, it doesn't mean anything. So I was like, they're not gonna do anything. Yeah. Besides, that guy's not a spy. And it was a long time ago. It was over 8 years ago. I really don't think he cares at this point. Whoever he is. Oh, so, yeah. So, and Rick doesn't. And Rick would be the other one that would care, who is Yvonne's ex-husband. But he doesn't anymore. He doesn't give a crap about that. They've been divorced since 2005. 2005. You know how many years later this is now? It's 2025. It's been 20 years. I don't think he gives a shit. He's probably so senile he probably doesn't even know what planet he's on at this point. 20 years later. Seriously doubt that guy cares. He doesn't. 20 years later. Those old videos, it doesn't matter. None of those old videos. It's fun to look back on them and see all these people as kids. Like, oh my God, that was that one. Yeah, the hyperactive one in the back playing with that weird ball game. That was Johnny from the video. Come back 40 years. At 40. 30 years later. That video's from 30 years ago. He watched some of the Transformer stuff. You watched the scary Halloween one now. Colony of Bars and the other one. Yeah. And the other one with a Springer. He kind of mixed them up together. They're different guy. But that's fine. There were two very similar ones. And one of the Star Trek ones. I think he was referring to the crossover one with Galvatron getting menaced by Shadow Dancer who had Q powers. Well, this isn't officially a New Year's thing. And, so it's not. But let's do Q&A. Why not? Let's do Q&A. I don't actually have a Q&A in front of me. I'm just going to guess. Starting with, what is best picture of the year the Kal Kat has seen? I'm going to probably give it to The Wild Robot. The Wild Robot, best picture of the year. It's original. It's work. Mother and her special needs character, and her demented, delinquent husband, Fox. Very Pine Hill type of story. Yes, like a Wild Robot. Yeah. I don't think I'll do a musical one this year, just because it's really obvious that it would be like, okay, yeah, the Wicked one technically can't get it because really yeah, as I said in the other review, it's like she has a trained voice, the green lady, the actress, the Broadway actress was better. But yeah, well, but yeah, So you have an odd concept too. The whole premise of the story of Wicked is that it's a prequel to the Wizard of Oz, set after the Wonderful Wizard of Oz from a couple of years ago, and that is the prequel is kind of made up. It's not part of the original book series. Yeah, and they just kind of did their own thing, and it's like, do we need to know about these characters and how their origin, she becomes the Wicked? Do we need to know that really? Do we really need that? Not really. Well, it makes sense with the Megatron and Optimus thing. Yeah. Steve Buscemi with a breakout character as Starscream in that Transformers 1 movie. Not so much the Prime and Megatron in the movie, but really Steve Buscemi's Starscream. Yeah. Yeah. And the lady whose name I can't pronounce. Not even going to try. The Wild Robot. But yeah. But yeah, there's not a lot this year because of that writers and actors strike that happened last year. There's just, what are they going to do for Oscars this year? There's going to be like 2 movies, and I can't think of them. Red Letter Media just reviewed Metropolis. One of the questions is, did you see Metropolis? I did not. I wanted to see that movie to hate watch it, but I didn't see it. I didn't. It was not in theaters for long enough. I would have gone. But yeah. Joker Folie à Deux. I think I already went into that other one. What did you think of Joker Folie à Deux? Did you think it was subversive? I thought the end of the first Joker movie kind of leads right into Joker 2, and that you kind of get the idea that he's not the Joker. So, is it all in his head? That's the psychological dilemma and conundrum going on there. Is it all in his head? I mean, all of it. Because some of it doesn't make any sense. Like Lady Gaga's character being Harley in that does not make any sense. Unless she's not there. He's just hallucinating her. That would explain how she can go into solitary confinement where he's hiding. He's been put in there and have sex with him. If she's not there. That means the pregnancy doesn't happen, which goes with at the end when she just laughs at him when he says, I'm not pregnant, or pregnant, right? Or baby, and she goes, because she's not really there. I think it's fairly obvious from the story that was the implication, that she's not there. She was a figment of his imagination. And he is thus a figment of his own imagination. The cartoon at the beginning with the shadow, the Warner Brothers cartoon at the beginning, that's the movie. No, the cartoon in like 5 minutes. It's literally the movie. And it wasn't that it was the people that were disgusted at the other one. It was the people that were disgusted that he's not the Joker. And the fake laugh that he's doing, that's not a laughing disorder laugh. No. That's just, that was wrong. That's just wrong. I mean, you can make yourself laugh and make it make sense. You know, whatever. Something like that. Snickering, even. Yes, so. But yes, I don't have permission to air any of the videos that we direct, but I can air my own stuff. And, stuff. And no, the earlier we did rediscovered the here's a weird one, the Disney ducks. What is that? Earlier in the year there was a rediscovery of the files containing some old artwork and stuff, which was rescued from one of the hard drives, including an odd attempt to make a DuckTales thing inspired by the DuckTales guy from the comic book DuckTales guy, and fusing it with the Disney DuckTales guy. Different people. And it was quite an old series of ducks. They did all these different Star Trek ducks. I rescued these little duck men dressed up like Star Trek people. A little drawing, little face headshots of the ducks with different Star Trek people. And I updated it, and I included new ones of Prodigy and Lower Decks and discovery as well to the collection, and made them slightly different looking, more updated, more modern. Yeah, and I'm not doing anything with them. I just thought it would be fun. Yeah, I'm not doing anything with those. I just did them for fun. Printed them up and then put them away. That'll probably happen to these pictures before too long, but I just put them up. So yeah. So we have picture versions of various cast members. I remember back in the day, I drew such photorealistic ones. These aren't as photorealistic, but back in the day, I did some really photorealistic ones, like they were taken off of Facebook and stuff, that were so good. My sister Martha was fooled into thinking I actually had a picture of them. Nice. So, why do you have a picture of that girl up there, Daniel or whatever, or Taylor up there? That's not a picture. That's a drawing. It is them, but it's a drawing. Wow, that's pretty good. Try. Now the art style is more comic booky. I'd say my art style is halfway between like 1980s G.I. Joe and Macross. It's kind of weird. Macross and G.I. Joe. It's kind of cool. Yeah, I think it works. But yeah, not a chance of any of that being a comic book or anything. Yes. PL, again, stuff like that. Captain Estrogen. Okay, in the 90s, Captain Estrogen. Okay, in the 90s, I did do a comic strip for the flyer called Captain Estrogen. It'd be funny that Captain Eggford Cheese was hard to say, so his name was Estrogen. And I included him as a sort of, I reimagined him for Starship Location's Legacy as a sort of an Orion instead of a lizard, because there was no way to make a lizardman. So they Draconian lizardmen, Orion lizardmen are related in the story. And so he was a Riker, and he's a Captain Estrogen. He's going to be playing Raxler. And then there'd be no possibility of them thinking that Raxler is some sort of ethnic stereotype if he's green. He can't be. He's green. But yes, the name was not supposed to be originally a reference to a male that wants to be trans. We weren't that progressive. It was just that his name was hard to say, so he was Captain Estrogen. But now he swings both ways. Although from the Picard LaForge parody shipping / novels, he was very straight, and he kept shrinking the females. He wasn't gay. He was straight. It could have been gay. Well, the newer one's kind of bi. Oh my! But as he explains in the story, well, that's just because my name is. It's in the name. Yeah. And I included a Nightshade action figure in Canary Space as someone else. This Transformer happens to be on the enemy alien ship. I needed a Transformer-like robot, and I figured, well, why not her? She's an owl lady, robotic owl lady. So yeah, that's different. That's trippy. How that? Yeah, and they chickened out with the movie, the TV series, and cut all references to her being trans out of the final season. They shouldn't have chickened out. Well, why would they care? Really? Who's watching this Netflix show that's been out of her, that they even watched it? Like, oh my gosh, there was a trans character. Oh my gosh. It's like, she didn't do anything. She just said that, like, my gender pronouns they. Well, that really offends them somehow. So, she likes to be called they. So what? Why are they so bent out of shape over that? I don't even know. Let them do it. Let them have their fun. And I'm not going to discuss politics at all during this whole thing. Because there's no point. And that was probably one of the consternations of some of the relatives Martha said, going like, "Oh, some of your stuff is boring or dumb." It's because it's not about politics. I don't want to make it about politics because then you complain. So I make it generally neutral, and then yeah, they have nothing to say about it. But yeah, I don't want to make it immediately. Like, see, the trouble is, if you make it too much about something current, it's not interesting after like a week. Whereas I was like, oh, let's make a story series about that you can really connect to about these interesting and messed up guys or Transformer, happen to be Transformers or Star Trek people going on a mission, and they're kind of flaky or whatever, or they're kind of evil or kind of good, or they can't tell which in the gray areas, and they're going out, and it's an interesting story about these people that there's no message behind it. There's a little bit of a message, but it's not a political message. A little bit of message about yeah, maybe it's too woke for them, the whole Transformer thing. Even though Star Trek was very woke. As the term woke, be tolerant. That's literally all it means. Yeah. So yeah. Although the Me Too movement is kind of done now, it was only a fad. We'll see what happens next. But yeah, unfortunately, they weren't able to stick the landing. They just weren't ballsy enough, or other ballsy enough. Yes. And it isn't that one party wasn't able to pin stuff on the other party's candidate. It was that other candidate cheated and made those court things go away. That's what happened. So that's not that they weren't able to stick it. That's they were rich and they rigged the system so they would get off. That's different. That's completely different than them saying, "Oh, they were out to get him." No, they weren't out to get him. No, they just got away with it. That's just a dick. Got away with it. Yeah. That's why we're not going to make any characters out of what's his name. Character out there. Because that would be boring and immediately date the story. It would be stupid. Oh, this guy's a parody of what's his name? Politician guy. Nobody's going to watch that. Oh, it's sort of like in that old classic Star Trek episode where they referenced Marvin Bella playing a god character who grabs the children shall lead from the planet to ship. Like, why is Marvin Bella in this? The judge guy from L.A. back in the day. It's like that episode of Cheers, the Cheers 200 episode, where they're all, I'm a lawyer that represents a law firm that's backing this show. I'm going to appear at Cheers Bar. Like, why? Immediately dating the show. The Morn from Cheers. Norm from Cheers and Morn from Deep Space Nine. Morn from Deep Space Nine is a parody of Norm from Cheers, which is why he cannot have a single line. NBC said, no, you can't have any dialogue, because then you have to pay us money, because that character is a spoof. They should have been able to get away with it, though, because it is a spoof. He's a spoof. He's a parody. Parody is fair use. But that was the 90s, the early 90s, and they didn't have a fair use thing until 1998. Yeah, so by the end, they could have had him have lines. By the end of the show. Because they would have figured it out, the early internet. Yeah, there's a lot of old stuff on why that did or didn't work back then. Yeah, so there's... yeah, right. White rich guys are always going to get away with all kinds of crimes. Just, white rich guys. They tend to. Whereas if you're not, they don't. So, white politician guy says, oh, I'm totally innocent. He's like, not necessarily. Not necessarily. No, you're just rich. You paid somebody off. It's your rich friends to do it. No. Those are my politics. And take whatever you like. Me, though, I couldn't get away with shit. I could not get away with anything. No. That's what was silly about that movie, The Accountant. The guy was supposed to be autistic. And he was like, he's a spy, and he's a super spy by night or something. No, an autistic person would be a terrible, terrible, terrible spy. Terrible 3-time spy. They would tell you, oh yeah, I'm totally a spy, and here's what I'm going to do. You're a terrible spy. You're the worst kind of spy imaginable. They can't lie. Yeah. Capable of lying. Literally, they're incapable. They don't see the nuances of a lie. That's why I can see how some of my characters would come off as a little one-dimensional in some ways. Because of that, however, I can write characters so that they have, you can pull yourself out of the characters. See, a lot of this shipping. It's hilarious that Will Wheaton talked about that he ships the characters. And all the way going back to the Ready Room Season 1, in which he referenced us, which was hilarious, and Starship Chimera, and referencing the fan film where the Riker and Picard tell Wesley that line, no, the Traveler was just trying to seduce you, Wes. And he goes, you could have warned me about that ahead of time. I found out the hard way. And Picard's all, I tried to tell you, Wesley. You didn't listen. Shut up, Wesley. He's like, okay, yeah, that's canon. That's what Will Wheaton had to say to that. To our fan film. That's canon. The Traveler and I were intimate. Yuck. But, ew. What the hell? Because that alien was acting really, really gay. He was acting gay. They were trying to do that on Star Trek all the time. They wanted to make LaForge gay, Season 1. So we played up on that with the Picard LaForge fan film story. We finally actually got away with doing one as a legacy episode. We're going to do a Picard LaForge. We got Lascivious of Borg and Lacutius of Borg as LaForge. And they're going to show up and have a roux. Get mad at each other. Garrick and Bashir were gay in one version, and in that other universe, there's they went there with Lower Decks. They had one universe where there's a Garrick who's in love with a hologram of Bashir. Oh my. They were playing it up really campy, because you just know those two were into each other. And that one was not into Kira or Kiriyoshi. Oh my. It's hilarious. And Will Wheaton was talking about the Lower Decks guys, saying she shipped them too. To them. To their faces. Oh, I ship your characters. And they're like, oh, I hope they're good though. Ew. Slash fiction is mainstream when Will Wheaton on his own show mentions, he does slash fiction of the characters. Of Quaid and Tawny Newsom and everybody on the show. Noella Wells. Noella Wells is playing the looks like the Sandy character from TMS, but is playing someone slightly different. And straight from the other cast member, Amanda. The godlike one on Lower Decks is her. It's supposed to be Amanda. With Amanda. So the Grecian space character. Even though she's not Greek. But in the story she's supposed to be. The character is. The character can be different. Just as long as it isn't directly them. Rumbly is fine. She's okay with the Rumbly scene. She did look a little cockeyed and said at that one, she said, well, first of all, I wouldn't kiss you. And I know it's a joke, but I'm not interested in dudes. Secondly, but we weren't actually kissing. Picture. No. The figures didn't actually touch lips. It's implied. Although the fake Q sex scene was really funny, though. That was funny. She's like, what's it just good for you? So what's for me? And he's all like, it was okay. And she's all like, well, you go through all this trouble. It's got to be better than just okay. What? You got the character right. That's what the character would do. Not what the person would do, what the character would do. There's a difference. Character and the actor. I was like in that other story with the the one that the older dude and the cadet lady. I think the two Abbeys. They're clearly the adult Abbeys from the church. They're clearly supposed to be them, but they kind of switch their personalities. And they're on the ship, and they get this other guy named Leo Star. Leo Star is kind of a cad. He's kind of a mega chad. A former like jock who thinks it's okay to be. He's older than me in terms of character like story, so he thinks it's okay to be a little bit of a rounder, only to be shot down every chance he gets by the millennials and the other ones. That's funny. He was in on it. Yeah, absolutely. That was not a riff on a real person. That guy was in on it. He's like, make my character a cad. He's like, well, it's not like I'm gonna like it's not like my character's gonna end up playing Santa Claus for Christmas or something. And it was all like, yeah, no, we'll make you play Santa Claus for Christmas. Oh, the shirt's like, we'll make you Santa Claus in the play. No! Okay, not the play, just like at the dinner thing. Breakfast thing. Okay, we'll do that. So he was Santa Claus. But the character was different. The guy was different. And they were all in it, and they were all in on the joke, and they were all laughing about it, thinking, oh my God, I was picking up with that girl, but I'm stupid because my wife is right over there. It was like, yeah, that was a little dumb. Besides, the actual person is a god-daughter, so you're going to, you're getting away with it. Oh! Yeah, they're my, I knew the parents from like college group. Not stand a chance. No. She would destroy you. Oh, she would crush you. Oh no. Yeah. I wouldn't stand a chance. Oh yeah, you'd hear it from the mother. I was like, yeah, I would. I already have, actually. just yesterday, actually. Yeah. So there was this back and forth joke story going on. Like, I'm not really doing that. I'm not really being too forward. The other guy was. Now the other guy was doing. You weren't doing anything. What are you worried about? And I would totally tell you if I was too forward. But yeah, that was funny. So there was all this back and forth, and the banter ended up in the episode. Star Trek Legacy episode. We made it a little more over the top because it's comedy. You gotta make it over the top and make it silly and over the top. Like, look, scene where they're in the transporter room alone. That never happened. Come on. There's no transporter room for one thing. But they got cock blocked by Emogi, who showed up, and Emogi's all like, "Wait a minute, stop! You're Borg influenced. The Borg are messing with you. Don't do anything." She cock blocked him. And then in the last episode, this is the character, by the way. The character was in the Leo Starro. It mentions that his wife is in engineering, making sure he doesn't get into trouble. This is very funny. Oh, anybody was in trouble? Oh, the convention episode, in which they break the fourth wall, and it's literally them, and the Scott Boyd guy shows up, and the mother from the other girl from the story is in this episode, walking around and on the bridge, going like, no, you guys said you weren't going to do that anymore. You can't do that. No. But yeah, so they weren't going to do that anymore. But no, they can mess with the characters, just not the real people. So yeah, they're all adults. Everybody's an adult. Just being silly. It's all good. Yeah. So that's all that was about. I don't know if that makes any sense at all, but there were adult characters being flirty and horny in summer camp. That's basically what was happening, and they kept getting caught. That's basically what happened. Kept getting caught. That's all. To other adults. All above board. They were just being silly. And I was not one of them, mind you. I was just observing. I was silly, but I wasn't being horny. But yes. Let's see. So we have... you have... Yeah, that I thought that even though that doesn't make any sense. Because you don't know who they are. Again, they can't say their names, so it throws it off. But, yeah. Yeah, so there's a third Abby who is not the one we're talking about. That is a third Abby. It's a kid, not involved in it at all. Not involved. It's not her. It's the adult ones. The adult ones and the adult. Abby's the Emma. Yeah. Indirectly in the episode by way of word of mouth. They kind of address that in the story by having in the latest episode of Legacy by having the three of them return and have them gossiping about someone the Kitty Key character and Amanda Rumbley's character. She thinks that it's about her. It's not. It's about Kitty Key. Yeah, so it's fine. Yeah, it's perfectly fine. It's nothing. We're not really doing much X or TMS stuff anymore. Yeah, sorry, we're kind of burnt out on the TMS stuff. Although, interestingly enough, it appears that the Canary Space people and the Vanguard's people are the former TMS action figures, which have gone over there to do those other two shows. So, most of them are from the TMS. So yeah, that's where they went. They went to the other planet, and I haven't quite explained how the connection between them and Distant Destinies, the planet. And they just basically said what I said last year. Don't need to. The bioship and the other thing is like, well, why explain that? If you want to in the future do another novel for Amazon KDP Scribe, do a novel explaining it, but don't do an episode. Doesn't need to be done. Not really. And no, we're not doing all 7 episodes. That's not all 7 movies. The 3 episodes that comprise the first book. Yes, the 3 movies that comprise the first book of Canary Space. Not all 7. No, we don't need to do all. And I don't have any idea what the next Legacy episode of Starship will be about. I don't know. But I do kind of have an idea what the next Transformer one is going to be about. Since we have the final Dinobot, we have Swoop. The Astro Beast Swoop. There is going to be something involving the Dinobots and the Carta on a planet. Specifically, the Carta that left the Earth in the universe that is the first movie. Those ones think that it's billions of years later. It's not. We're going to find out what happened to them. Probably using Transformers because we can't afford to get a bunch of cardboard robots and build them. So it'll be like how can we get around having painted ourselves into a corner with the Transformers 2038 story and having it be so many years into the future, 13 years later. Oh no, we've already gone on ahead and done this other thing. Well, you can do like Earthspark did. And like the Power of the Primes guys did. They're doing some new Prime figures. Yeah, a bunch of them coming out. And it's like, why don't you just have just not explain it? It's 2024 and it's another part of the multiverse, and here you are. Dinobots, Carta. Movie. Interesting movie? Cool. Haven't written it yet. I'm sure it'll be interesting. Although we do have a Transformers fan down there. He doesn't want to be in these. I asked him. I said, you want to be in one in my fan films? A Decepticon or something. He's like, no, I don't want to go. I don't want to do that. I can't act, he said. I don't do acting. I'll come up with ideas, but do acting. You can do your little fan films. Martha's ex-husband, Ian, their ex-husband, he really doesn't like Star Trek. But I bet there's some aspects of Star Trek he does like. I bet if I said, so, but you do like the lady in the cat suit from from Voyager, right? Oh, of course I like it. The cat suit lady. I bet he does have some Star Trek. I bet you like the Green Orion girl. I bet secretly he's got a thing for Tendi. Exactly. Or maybe he's into British chicks. Because he's British. There you go. Yeah, so Martha and the cast moved to Missouri. They were visiting here recently. Last day visiting. Everybody caught a little bit of something. It's just going away, but it ain't going to be completely gone away tomorrow. So, yeah, I'm hoping it's gone away tomorrow. But yeah, so the, Missouri. Technically, the executive producer puts up the money for the show and directs the show. But as the executive producer, the producer, creator of the show, Kal Kat and Mark Skars are the producer creators of the show for on-location missions and Starship locations and all the spin-offs. The Transformers Mush and all the spin-offs. Or a Legacy, I guess. It's for Legacy and the spin-offs. All that other stuff. Kal Kat Show, Kal Kat Channels. That's all ours. Brown Video Productions as well. But overseeing all the finances of the runnings of the show is Dan Brown, K.O. Dan, who was a little kid in Trends Tech. A long time ago. In Trends Tech. Yep. He's now 40 almost. Well, 38. But yeah. He's in charge he's the executive producer of the whole studio. I guess he'd be the studio head then. Yeah. He'd be the executive producer of the studio head. Yeah. That's what he'd be. Studio head. Oh, so you'd be the Kevin Feige of your own stuff. Or the James Gunn of the other stuff. Oh yeah, speaking of that, the Cryptic guys that formerly were at also at Star Trek Online, they all quit. Well, a lot of them did, along with Scott, and to go over work at Disney, or not Disney, but they went over to work at. They're going to go work at DC stuff, and some of them were at the play, so to meet them only after the fact on the second day of the second performance, realized that's who they were. I was like, oh my gosh, I actually met them. I met the Star Trek Online guys, the guys that thought of the Wesley as the Borg king and stuff in the other universe, and all that stuff. The Wesley and the Chimera ship and all that stuff. There is a version of the Chimera and its Nog ship in that universe, but in our universe, it's the Emmett Till A, it's Nog ship, which is still consistent with the timeline. He could go on from the Emmett Till A to command the Chimera, the other ship, Chimera. Yeah. Considering the new season takes place in 2413, a little later. But you can still do stories between 2407 and 2413. You don't have to move around. Just don't go any further back than 2400. Yeah. And we'll be back to we'll review Stranger Worlds, Section 31, and whatever else they come up with. Behind the scenes of Starbase 80 and all the stuff with that. They're continuing. So Lower Decks is not completely gone. They're continuing. Starbase 80. And that's the name of the new one. Yeah. And some of the fans, they're still on there with clickbait stuff, including JP over there at that, talking to Orville. And they're still on about the Orville Season 4. And the story behind that is another question. What about the Orville Season 4? Another question here. As far as I know, it's not happening. Scott Grimes was at a convention. It's told there's many different kinds of conventions, but it was a convention. I believe that it was a science fiction related convention, but it wasn't necessarily Comic-Con. It was just like Comic-Con. And he was quoted as saying, production begins in 2025. About something. He didn't say what. And all the fans have gone, oh my god, it's confirmation of the Orville Season 4. Where they got the Orville Season 4 from Scott Grant, another Scott, saying production is happening in 2025. What was he talking about? What was the frame of reference? Okay, the rest of the clip was available. Production begins on Ted Season 2, January 2025. Sorry, guys. He was not talking about the Orville at all. He was talking about Ted Season 2. Not happening. Also, I can throw over to the Disney guys. Some Disney guys. They have not heard anything. This guy, it can't be a show, has not heard anything either. Seth MacFarlane has not posted anything either. They keep going back to that thing from 6 months ago where he says, I really want to have it happen. I wish it would happen. But I haven't heard anything from Hulu. They cut the but I haven't heard anything from Hulu. They cut that part out. That's the rest of the quote. I don't know anything. Still the same. I don't know anything. If he knew something and there was some kind of promotion, he would be talking about it. Seth MacFarlane would be all going all over about it. Oh my gosh, we got Adrienne Placky back or something. And they're going to do more. Like, they didn't get Adrienne Placky back either. She ain't coming back. They finished it. Season 4 was fine. It ends with a wedding. Comedy should end with a wedding. That's the end of it. That's what Shakespeare said. Comedy should end with a wedding. And it ends like, that's it. There's nothing more you can do. The robots made peace. And the misogynistic aliens didn't. That's the end of your story. You've got nothing more. You should stop. Because you'll end up making it a poor 4th season. It won't be as good. Yeah, so don't. It's done. It's done. Disney Hulu has not said anything about their show slate relating to that at all in 2025. I've seen the show slate. It's not on there. No production, no sets, no designs, no buildings, nothing. Nothing. There's no mention of the Orville at all on the Disney show slate. So unless they go in there and stick stuff up there, like when the Kal Kat aired a rebuttal to the thing saying, see, they're not having... And then they misquoted the Kal Kat rebuttal saying Kal Kat confirms it. And then I had to make another one saying, no, I did not say that. I said they wish we're going to do it. They wish there's going to be an Orville movie. They wish they're going to do the Sympathy for the Devil book. They did not say they were going to. They said they wished they were. The black guy, the black actor. Wish I would have do that one. And then the one lady that played the devil, the alien, she wants to do it. But they're not going to go back and do one of the books. It'd be dumb. They're not going to do that. Adapt the book. Yeah, that'll work. Yeah, they go back to the Avis planet in the book. They're not doing it. JP needs to stop. Just, I don't know. Do something else. And then he complains when he gets flagged by Disney Hulu for showing clip art from the games and stuff. And going like, oh, somebody owns that rights to those games and that game information. Probably Activision or something. Somebody owns the rights to that stuff. You can't just post that on your website. Well, you go with your website over there. It's like I never post anything that I don't have permission to post. That's fine. Anyway, so on that note, so this is not a New Year's special. It's just an update thing. It's New Year's Eve, but it's like, yeah. So there's. I could talk about other annoying YouTubers, but it would be really outdated. I don't really. I'll shout out to the cool ones, the Council of Geeks, Jesse Gender After Dark, the Star Trek people, Larry Nemechek, John Campea Show. Shout outs to that kind of thing. Red Letter Media. I thank Red Letter Media for referencing our stuff on your show. That's very funny. Yeah, some of your characters reappear. And Starcrackers, yeah, some of them will be back in Starcrackers. The Neelix, rich Neelix guy. It's not really rich, but it's kind of implied that it is. He will be in Starcrackers. He will be playing Asloth, the dog man. So, yay, the dog man. Not really. But it would like him. So yeah, there's funny stuff there. Cervantes. Oh, the Cervantes guy. Yeah. They're more based on David than nephew from the first nephew. Anyway. Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed the other stuff. Anyway, that's it. I think we're done here. Yeah. Happy New Year.